Hello all, and welcome to this evening's bourbon review. So yeah, I know I said I wasn't going to go and review more more beverages um, until I started uploading, but here we are. I realize at this point I'm not even actually sure if I'm actually going to upload anymore, but I am going to keep on making these because I don't know. I just find it therapeutic almost to do this because it's a major part of the socialization, I suppose, even if I'm not uploading it. Who knows? Anyways, so what are we reviewing today? Well, last week, a cousin from Florida came down to visit, and, I wanted to go drink whiskey, so Tamura's, New Kaneohe Tamura's is right across the street from where they were staying. So I ended up going there, and while the selection there is probably the smallest of all the Tamuras, I ended up getting this because I've never actually reviewed a Four Roses bourbon before, and I know they have a pretty good reputation. And I did not drink this all. Other people, they and my cousin and others at the party also drank the majority share of this. And in fact, I actually had to put it aside and say, hey guys, I don't want to be like this, but I want to save a little bit for reviewing. Because that's my thing. I review alcoholic beverages. I don't really upload them to YouTube anymore, but I review them on this video. So yeah. So this is 45% alcohol, which is 90 proof. It is a blend of multiple, I suppose, malts. I can't remember if it's, I believe 5 different kinds, which has 2 different malt bills and 5 different yeasts that are used. And they're blended together to kind of create this Four Roses small batch. So, without much further ado, let's just get to it, shall we? Into the Glencairn glass it goes. A nice golden yellow. Decent legs, not the thickest, but not the thinnest either. Let's begin the nosing, shall we? Vanilla, oak. Kind of on the fruity side, I would say almost stone fruit notes like black cherry. Some hints of baking spice. But overall, oak, vanilla, and fruit. Touches of floral and honey. I smell a bit more from away rather than directly in. Let's get to it straight onto the palate, shall we? Big fruit up front. Definitely lot like black cherry there up front. Rye pepperiness kind of kicks in the mid to finish and lasts into the long finish. Underneath the fruit, sort of creamy vanilla in the front to mids. Also touches of oak in the long-lasting finish. Nicely smooth, not hot at all. Whatever bite there is from the rye, that pepperiness. And if I recall correctly, one of the mash bills used was fairly high rye, not super high rye. Corn was still at the top of the malt bill, but rye was second on the malt bill. All in all, fairly nice sipping whiskey. Slight honey notes in the mid to long finish, kind of underneath the oaken notes. Also citrus, bit there in the mid to finish too. In fact, it kind of overwhelms the fruit, which is up front. Cinnamon in the front to mids. Really nicely silken smooth when it's in your mouth. Just absolute excellent creamy mouthfeel there, right up front. Just rolls around in your mouth so well. You can see this being used for cocktails as well as being drank straight. All in all, nicely complex. So really, the part that stands out for me is kind of the fruitiness of this. It's almost as strong as, the traditional bourbon notes of corn, oak, and, those resulting notes from that. 4 roses, small batch, excellent. This is usually not as highly rated as the single barrel. I didn't feel like spending the money for a single barrel, but I'm actually pretty curious now as to trying single barrel because small batch is pretty darn good. If single barrel is the one that people rave over, then it must be pretty darn good. So, That's your whiskey review for tonight, folks. Four Roses Small Batch. I believe, what company makes this? Four Roses Distillery. Well, they're probably owned by some large one, and they're not like a small independent one anymore. But it's a fairly old distillery, and they're making this is pretty excellent bourbon that they make. That's a review for tonight, folks. Cheers.